Everyone, it's Johnny and I'm back, and I'm wearing my Korg hat today because I got something really cool. I picked up a DW8000 for 200 bucks, and this thing does not work. It's totally broken. It turns on briefly and the lights turn on and then they turn off. There's no sound. So yeah, we're gonna crack this thing open and see if we can fix it. So I'm gonna take you on a little journey here and see if we can fix this DW8000, get it up and running, and kind of refurbish it a bit. It's cosmetically in not bad shape, but it needs some work. So let's get going. Okay, here we go. Let's get it apart. Get all those old screws out, those old rusty screws. This thing has been through some wars out on the road. And let's pop the top open. Okay, there we go. Let's look inside. Yeah, you can see it's a bit rusty down there. Probably a beer or two spilt down below the keyboard. The board's looking in good shape though. There's the VCFs and the wavetable ROMs there. CPU looks good. Other than that, like it's definitely salvageable. A lot of dust in there and grime. We're gonna get rid of all that stuff, clean everything out. Nice. It's pretty grimy. Yeah, okay, here we go. Let's have a look at the battery. And it's definitely the original battery, has not been replaced. It is so dead. Looks like someone has replaced the system software though there. That is a new chip. And here are the VCFs, the 2069s, an amazing filter, sounds fantastic. And yeah, the voice board's looking in really good shape, so this thing should sound really good. Just a nice shot of the voice board, and there's a nice shot of the CPU and ROM board. As you can see, it's in quite good shape. And the power supply, we're going to change all those capacitors out. And here's a look at the battery close up. It's definitely old. We're going to get rid of that. And as you can see, that's OS 12. Someone has changed the OS on this thing at one time. Open that up. We're going to put OS 13 on, which is the last OS. So let's get the board out and desolder the battery. And just pop that battery out. There you go. You can see underneath it, there's a lot of residue. Yeah, that thing is nasty. That was about ready to cause a lot of board damage. So we're going to clean that all up and get rid of all that. Just give the board a good cleaning and solder in the new battery, which is good. Just make sure it's ready to go. Oh yeah, here the holes are nice. Yeah, so we can pop in the new one and solder that in place. Put the board back in. Now I finally can test it, and it still does not turn on. It turns on briefly and then doesn't do anything, so we've got an issue with the power supply. So let's just pull all the wires off the power supply and do a quick test on it. So we got -5, that should be 5, -7, and 12. So yeah, there's definitely some issues on the 5-volt rails. So let's take this thing out. You have to actually cut off the inputs to the power supply. And yeah, there it is. We're gonna change all those caps, do a fair bit of work on this, and we're gonna change the 7805 regulators, 2 of those that are screwed onto that backplane there, those 2 right there, we're gonna swap those out. Making sure we change the regulators, put some nice heat compound on underneath. Make sure they're nicely attached to the heatsink. There we go. Now that we got those out, let's get all the capacitors out. some of those big ones stick in pretty good with glue, so you gotta really kind of pry them off. And we're gonna do not just the big input caps, but we're gonna do all the little output caps as well. So it takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely worth it. A good clean power supply will save your synth in so many ways. A dirty power supply will ruin chips very quickly. Okay, so now that's all done, let's put this back in and hook up the input wires. Here's a little dish of all the parts I've got going here. We're gonna strip, resolder those back on properly. And let's do a power on test. See what we got here. So we should have -5, +5 now, perfect. -7, +5 again, and there's the +15, perfect. All right, let's try it on now. And it turns on, yes, and it does boot with the 8000. And it sounds pretty wonky. So we're gonna have to load in the sounds now into RAM. Now that we've got the new battery, we have to replace the memory with some proper data. So yeah, it's just plain garbage. All right, let's load up some new factory patches. And you've got to do it by tape on this, so I've hooked some wires up to the interface, and we're going to load them in. Okay. Yep, sounds good. That is a working DW8000. And I was noticing the sound cutting out a little bit, so just played around with the volume slider a bit. And it does seem like that is pretty wonky. So we're gonna have to rip that apart and take that out. So remove the keyboard there for easy access for the panel boards. So we'll pull that panel board out. And slide it out here. Yeah, there it comes. And yeah, we'll clean that up. We'll remove that volume slider and change those two capacitors next to it there just for the hell of it, because we're in there. All right, let's get rid of that nasty slider. Change those little caps while we're at it. Two little 1 microfarad 50 volt caps. And this is our new ROM. Get rid of the old ROM and put in the new ROM ordered from eBay. And that fixes a few OS issues with the latest firmware upgrade. And here's our Synth box, and it's got some parts here. Our new volume slider. Let's solder that back in. Now we're going to replace I ordered 10 switches. Probably should have done all of them, but I just felt let's just order the 10 that are the worst, which seem to be the button and numbering, the numbering buttons. So we're just going to pull those 10 off and replace them. Clean it up a bit, wipe the board down, get rid of some of the dust bunnies, fit the new buttons in, and let's solder them in place. Okay, put everything back together, make sure it's seated nice and firmly. So we got new volume, new buttons on the panel boards. That's going to be nice. And let's put the keyboard back in. I cleaned up the keyboard and did a bit of refurbishing on it. Reconnect all the wires, make sure we got the correct connections in, and I'm just going to temporarily put it in place just to see if everything works before screwing it down entirely and tidying up some of the cables inside. And yeah, it looks like it's on. It is working. No major issues. Buttons work really nicely now. And it sounds great. Yes. We're almost there. Okay, time for the final play test. It's all back together now and sounding great. Okay, a DW8000 saved from the trash pile. Thanks for watching.